What's up, guys? My name is Jerry, and today's video is going to be on the Portland Trailblazers, and we're going to be talking about how this organization continues to move in the right direction, and we're going to jump right into the video. Now, this is a very important offseason for the Portland Trailblazers as they're trying to build a championship roster around Damian Lillard. And I must say, the offseason for the Trailblazers is off to a terrific start. And it all started the night before draft night when they were able to get Jerami Grant without giving up that 7th overall pick. I feel like that was a statement trade by the Portland Trailblazers, and it showed that the front office is meaning business right now. They're really pulling out all the stakes to put this roster together. And the reason I love that trade, one, like I said, they're getting a player that they really need in Jerami Grant that's going to make the roster better. And then also, they didn't have to give up one of their most valuable assets in that 7th overall pick. And then the other reason I love this trade is because I like Jerami Grant, and I think he's going to be the perfect fit for the Portland Trailblazers. And I want to take you guys back to the 2018-2019 season to when the Trailblazers had two wings in Al-Farouq Aminu and Mo Harkless that was so good defensively, and they were able to get all the way to the conference finals. I think their defense played a huge part in that, and that's what I see in Jerami Grant. And the only difference between Jerami Grant and those two guys is that Jerami Grant is so much better offensively than Mo Harkless and Al-Farouq Aminu. With Jerami Grant, you're getting a guy that can do it all on the offensive side of the ball. He's averaged 20 points per game in his league. And also, he's a guy that can play with the ball or without the basketball in his hands. He can hit, catch, and shoot threes. He can cut to the rim. He can finish with both hands. He can catch a lob. He's great in transition. And then with the ball in his hands, he can score in isolation. He can run the pick and roll. And then he can also score in the post. So Jerami Grant is really good on the offensive side of the ball. And it just doesn't stop there. Coming into the league, he was known for his defense, being a versatile defender, being able to guard multiple positions. High defensive IQ. The Portland Trailblazers are going to love that. With guys like Damian Lillard and Alfred Simons, they're going to need as many versatile defenders as possible, and that's exactly what you get with Jerami Grant. So I have to love that addition by the Portland Trailblazers, and I think it's a sign that they're moving in the right direction. And then we move to what they did on draft night by drafting Shaedon Sharpe. Shaedon Sharpe was selected with the 7th overall pick in this year's draft, and this is why that Jerami Grant trade was so important. Getting a player as good as Grant makes the Blazers a lot better in the present, and it allowed them to focus on their future a little bit in the draft, and they ended up selecting Shaedon Sharpe, who I think was a pretty good prospect. And the biggest knock on him, and it's a pretty big knock, is that he was not seen at the collegiate level, but he still has tremendous upside. And what I like about him the most is his positional size. He's a 6'6" guard with a 7-foot wingspan, and NBA scouts and NBA GMs, they love that. And then also, Shaedon Sharpe has supreme athleticism. He can jump out of the gym. He has explosive bunnies, and then also he can score the basketball. He's really good on the offensive side of the ball, and he can score in so many different ways. He can get out in transition. He's great at running and cutting to the rim out in transition, getting alley-oops, catching outlet passes. He's really good in transition. And then also in the half court, he's a really good cutter, cutting backdoor, cutting from the wing. Like I said, lob threat. And then I like watching him with the ball in his hands. Now he's not when he comes to breaking down defenders, he's not a quick dribbler, I should say. He's very shifty. He makes very precise moves. And then also, he has a step back. He has a step back that can get to his three-point shot at any given moment. And then also, he's developed a skill that not many players his age have, and he has a fadeaway. He can get to the mid-range and shoot a shot leaning back, which is very impressive. And then we all know he can get downhill, and he can finish with the best of them. Left hand, right hand, he can do it all. And then he can punch it over anybody. So he's a really complete offensive player. And then also, he can shoot the 3-ball as well. He's a really great shooter, and that's why people are really high on him. He's really athletic. He can shoot the 3-ball, and then also he can create his own shot. And a lot of people believe that if Shaedon Sharpe played in college this year, he might have been able to be that #1 pick. And not only does he have offensive upside, but he has defensive upside as well. We got to remember he has that 7-foot wingspan. He has the ability to alter a lot of shots. He can block shots, and then also out on the perimeter, he showed the ability to move his feet and stay in front of opposing offensive players. So Shaedon Sharpe has the potential. It's all a matter of if the Portland Trailblazers can develop him, and I think they will be able to, especially behind Damian Lillard. And I like this pickup for the Portland Trailblazers. And their offseason just hasn't stopped there. Their most recent move, they signed Gary Payton II to a 3-year, $28 million deal. And I love this move for the Portland Trailblazers. Now, there's a lot to love about this signing for the Portland Trailblazers. They're getting a winner in Gary Payton II. He's coming off winning a championship with the Golden State Warriors. So he has the experience and he knows what it takes to win an NBA title. And then also they're getting a very solid basketball player. And we all know GP2 excels on the defensive side of the ball. He can guard 1 through 3. Sometimes he can guard 1 through 4. And not only is he good on the defensive side of the ball, I would say he is great because he really be out there locking guys up for the whole duration that he's on the court. He's making whoever his assignment is, he's making that guy's life a living hell. He's picking up full court, he's face guarding, and he's just making it very tough for that player to score the basketball. And then offensively, he's pretty solid as well, and he has a very high basketball IQ, and that's why he fit in so well with the Golden State Warriors. But he just know how to make winning plays. He know how to make the right play. He's in the right spot at the right time. He's a great cutter. He can play in the dunker spot. He can catch lobs. And then also, he's really good out in transition. He can push the ball in transition. He can make the right play. He's a fantastic playmaker. And then also, he's good at finishing in transition. So this is a guy who really is a Swiss Army knife. He gives you a little bit of everything on the offensive and the defensive side of the ball. And I really love this pickup by the Trailblazers. So I would say so far that this offseason is going really good for the Portland Trailblazers. I think the first step was maintaining their nucleus. I feel like they kept all their best players. They still have Damian Lillard. They re-signed Anthony Simons. Josh Hart is guaranteed for next season. Yusuf Nurkic just signed a $70 million deal. So they kept their nucleus and their best players. And then what makes it special is when you can add to it, when you can add players who are going to make you better. They get Jerami Grant with that trade. I like that pickup. They drafted Shaedon Sharpe, who hopefully he can come in and contribute immediately, but they can also develop him in the future. And then also they went out and got Gary Payton II, and I really love that pickup by the Portland Trailblazers. So I think things are going really good for this squad right now. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment down below if you agree or disagree, and then subscribe for more weekly content. We do this all the time, man, and that's curtains.